Okay, I'm at 829 Massachusetts Drive in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, bellies, which are like low spots, or basically anything that would be of concern to the buyer. The access point here is a PVC stack in the rear center of the basement. It's back in the wall. They do have an access panel, but it is recessed pretty good down in there. And there's also another one in the little center post here in the basement, but we haven't opened that. This is the one furthest to the rear, so this will allow us to inspect the most pipe. But if you look, you can see here we are right next to the stationary tub. There's a little access panel cut into the wall. So, looks like there's some water build up at the base of the stack here. So it doesn't look like a whole lot. You can actually see the top of the water line. Hopefully, when we pull back, we'll be able to see better. A lot of times, bellies like that are pretty common right there underneath the stack, just because of the extra weight. Meaning like it's a low spot where it's just dropped a little bit. But of course, when you have the water coming, dropping one floor, 10 foot or 20 foot if it's coming from the second floor, that obviously isn't an issue. You have enough speed with that water that it's not an issue. There should be a clean out, maybe what we're coming up on, right before the line exits the house. You can see from directly above, and it's probably underneath that little step in the front, underneath, just at the base of the steps. It's a pretty common area for it, and based off of how straight this line was, I would say it's pretty easy to see. It's weird. There's some stuff like stuck to the side of the pipe there that looks weird. Flat something or other, but not an issue, just an oddity to see inside the pipe. So far, it's a really good thing to see that the PVC goes all the way out. A lot of times in these houses in the 70s and the late 70s, they were still transitioning, and depending on when the neighborhood was built, you'll have PVC on the inside and then clay on the outside, which is not bad, but PVC is better at keeping roots out. So this is really good. I don't know where the main is, whether it's in the front yard or in the street. You should be able to kind of tell based off of footage. In this case, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you can tell that the line is dropping. My camera's hanging at about a 55 to 60 degree angle. Pretty good drop off. A lot of times this indicates we're either at the street or near the main, and we had to get a lot of drop off to get down to the level of the main. A lot of times, see, there we are. Oh no, take that back. I thought we were going into it. Looks like we are just going into. This would be the start of the municipalities area, and this is a black PVC. This wasn't used very long. It's still PVC, but this is an ABS plastic. And so the developer would have put all this in, the main, and stubbed out a pipe onto the property so that they could access it. And then when the builder came along and built the house, they would connect on, and they used the white PVC to connect onto it. Whereas I mentioned the developer, the one that put the main in, and they would stub out laterals up onto the property for when the house was built, because they build the roads and everything first, and then they stub it out there so that the builder has something to connect onto when they actually build the house. Get a little bit of an angle on this here, just because we're back into the wall. It's kind of hard for me to push. Everything does look really good so far, and I'm going to have to probably run some water in this stationary tub so that I get a little bit of help for the camera. So we're going to run some water. We're going to give it a minute to get on down to the line, to the point where the camera is. And that should help push the camera along a little bit. I may not be that far from the main. I wouldn't think I would be, being that I'm out 116 feet. I can't tell if I can see it, either that or it's just a... Yeah, a little bit of total pepper there, and we were at the main, so just in time. I probably didn't actually fully need to run that water, I just had a little bit further to go. But again, we're going to wait for that water to get there, and then it's a lot easier to push just because I can feel it behind there, but we'll let that rinse out. The house has been empty, obviously, so we're going to let the water come through here and push some of this stuff out into the main. But the line looked great. Structurally, everything looked good. The only real spot we had was a little bit of a low spot here at the base of the stack, but it's not causing any issues or anything. It's just there. So a lot of times that water need like a flush of a toilet or something to push some of the solids a little bit, just because there's not much water with just the sink flowing. A lot of times a flush of a toilet or a big dump of water like doing laundry when it empties, when the washer empties or something like that, will give a big rush of water. So we're going to see if this right here will, as it fills up, and should push that material on out as the water builds up behind that solid. So I'm going to run my camera back and forth a little bit right here. We got that out of there. Yeah, you can see now the water level dropped just because having that little bit of solid there can raise the water level. But you want to try to make sure that the camera's rinsed off, and we'll start pulling back. And if the view gets obscured, then we will shut off the water and let it drain down. But on the way out, everything looked really good. Trying to make sure that the lens stays as clean as possible. the line looks great. Looks like it's functioning as designed and flowing really well. You can see even with the water running, that the water level is not too high. And like I said, we get to the point where it does start to cover up the lens and we'll stop. But you can tell that the lens is only about a ½ inch off the bottom of the pipe. And so even when it covers the lens a little bit, that's not too much water. In a 6-inch pipe, it's very, very little water. As you can tell by the perspective of the camera, that it's not real. Get back in the little edge where it went from 4-inch to 6-inch there, where that white PVC was inserted into the ABS. Almost vertical section. Should flatten back out here. Little bit, like I said, you can see the flashes. So I'll go ahead and shut the water off just to keep that water level down a little bit. We will have to give it a minute to allow this to drain down here. Slowly watch the water level drop. Go ahead and push the camera out just a little bit so you can kind of see what we're looking at. But that's not a concern. It's a very, very little amount of water, like I mentioned earlier. Just comes from the pipe settling probably right after the install, usually when it happens. And you can see that the water level, as I pull back, doesn't even cover the lens now that we let it drain down. Front of the house. A little piece of debris there. Nothing unusual, just a little piece of debris. And here we are in the basin stack. So you can see it's just a little bit of water there at the base of the stack, but it is not an issue. The water has plenty of speed coming down, and that's not enough water to even be a concern. It's just a little bit of, like I mentioned, a little bit of settling that happened. It's probably been that way since the line was installed. Just a little bit lower at that spot. With the amount of speed that comes down there, that's not a problem. So the line looked great. There were no structural issues. All the pipe connections look nice and tight. The line is flowing open and freely and at a pretty good pitch. No solids or anything building up anywhere, so line looked great. So that'll end the inspection at 829 Massachusetts Drive.